We're here today at the Court of Noke near Leominster to talk to my good friend Edward Bulmer, interior designer and founder of Edward Bulmer Natural Paint, about the beautiful home he has created with his wife Emma here in Herefordshire.
Well, I don't think there's a lordship particularly, but it was part of the manor of Pembridge Foreign.
Pembridge Foreign.
Pembridge Foreign. And Pembridge Foreign is actually, is or was part of the holdings of the Thynne family.
Well, as in Longleat?
Yes.
Oh,
because one of them married a Mortimer. The Mortimers were the big dogs around here. They owned everything basically. There's quite a long set of court rolls from the 1400s through to 1694.
So there was an earlier house on the site of the court, much earlier.
Presumably
medieval.
On the site.
Yep.
Yeah. But there are some. The rooms don't fit the windows, for instance.
Really?
So whether that's because they're medieval stacks in some way, I don't know. So and when we came here, that stone wall was there.
Yes.
And there was a bit of water here, but nothing else.
Were the canals, these extraordinary sort of as L-shaped, enormous?
We didn't know about them at all. And then Geoffrey Howarth, who was the National Trust.
He's fantastic, yeah.
Historic Buildings rep then, he said, well, you know, Edward, you've got old water gardens here, you must restore them.
Was it covered, were they covered up?
The only visual record we found was the tide map, so nothing earlier than that. But the tide map showed very clearly that there was been a system of ponds. So we then asked ourselves, could these be...
A moat?
Yeah, it's an old site. And the way you'd have proved it would have been finding kind of shards of medieval pottery. And
were there any?
a lot of clay pipes and sort of transfer printed.
That's what's so strange about this house, because there seemed to be surprisingly little information about
Isn't it?
a house like this.
There's the Roman road.
Yeah.
No one bothered to just stop and even do a sketch or anything, to my knowledge. So yeah, we've never seen any. They haven't even seen like an old black and white postcard of it or anything.
And no one's got in touch saying, oh, my great-grandparents lived here and I've got a photograph album.
Occasionally.
Or something like that.
Odd people get in touch, and the children of the people we bought it from have visited. We think it was built by a guy who was a gentleman at Physic in Monmouth, who we think probably married the
heiress here, the lady of this memorial.
We think so, piecing it together.
Because you'd always known this area backwards, really.
Yeah. And because we were coming to the river here that we owned, I knew this
the
house.
Arrow, the River Arrow.
I'd taken pictures of this house as a teenager.
And did you ever think you'd own it?
No, but once I started kind of looking into Herefordshire and the houses here that you're interested in, you realise that a lot of them, the best ones have gone, sadly.
Yes.
And a lot of them, well, they're not a lot of them, actually, is the point. And to this day, there's no aristocracy here. This was built to give the illusion of being a larger house, wasn't it? Yeah. So you look at it and you assume it's square, but it was definitely L-shaped.
So that north-facing wing is part of the original L, and your kitchen now is in the new in another wing.
Yes.
So these are sort of the high status fronts, if you like.
Yes, and they're reflected in the
water,
the canals, and they're pointing at the public access, as it were.
And this is the River Arrows here on the right. So you've got all this water, then you've got more water there.
Yes.
Do you ever flood?
Yes. So we'll empty these if we think floods are coming. There's a sluice.
So they're actually practical as well as decorative.
So, well, we had to rebuild that.
Yeah. I see. So actually, if the roof, then it would be symmetrical here on the north side, if it was hipped. And are most of the glazing bars original, these lovely thick ones?
Actually, when we came, there were no windows in this front.
No, what were they like?
The middle one at the bottom had survived. We've now put a door.
None of them were blocked up, were they?
Well, yes, they were. They'd all been blocked.
Gosh.
This was probably tax avoidance, because effectively the house started as a sort of gentry house and then immediately stopped.
Yeah, and then some poor farmers got literally stuck with about 30 windows.
Well, 3 daughters inherited it jointly, so they presumably got a tenant and then in the house and then ran the farm.
That must have been a great joy to unblock them and restore them.
It was actually, and they were quite interested with it. The English have a very long preoccupation with tax evasion, as you know. And so not only had they been blocked up to avoid a window tax, I'm sure, there was also a brick tax, and you were taxed on the number you used.
Yeah.
So the way to get
Bigger bricks.
Yeah.
How big are your bricks?
So the bricks that they'd use to brick up the windows were larger than the ones in the house, and I rather regretted undoing that, to be honest.
Well, I think it's, but it's given back the facade its unity. So.
Yeah, and it would. There's no doubt it would look better, wouldn't it?
How many gardeners? Do you have a gardener here, obviously, or every day?
Well, we now have someone doing 2 days a week. Well, that's why Emma and I complement each other so well, because she's very good on plants.
Yes.
And vegetables, and I'm more kind of drawing it.
See, now you could be in somewhere like Holland. Eh?
Look at that. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it?
Looking down this very long canal to a little bridge, and there's the... And actually, the gable end of the house is very attractive from here. Isn't it lovely from here?
I love the way the thing just whistles past the house.
I know, it's kind of like... It's like... And the scale of it, it's so big. But it wasn't common to have canals.
Well, if you look at, there's a publication called Standon's Gloucestershire, which is, let's say, 1720.
Yes.
And it was clearly quite common.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
And your business is based here?
Yes.
That's wonderful, isn't it?
So it's all, we repurposed that old Dutch barn. We built it and just flat fronted it. And then I bought 2 columns at Lawford's.
Yep.
And we built the rest.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
When was the wing on the right built? The one with your kitchen?
I'd say probably about 1880, 1890.
So that late?
Yeah, that's the old well. That dried up the year we came.
It's not an omen. Right. Yeah, it's normally not.
And then we found that all the sewers from the house basically went into that. Originally,
it was a bit smelly.
Gone into the canals, and they'd have been washed away perfectly.
That's why Emma doesn't swim in the canal.
Exactly, but that used to be our drinking water.
Oh, really? It was self-sufficient.
We sunk a borehole in the end.
Yeah. Oh, lovely. So now we're on this north side of the house.
Do you want to see the factory? The paint factory?
I think so. Yeah, that would be wonderful, because it's so much part of the estate now, if you like, isn't it?
Indeed. Yeah, so this was an open pole barn, but that just shows you just how much winter fodder they were storing in order to get the cattle through what they call the hungry gap.
Is that all listed too, obviously? Cause
it's all part
of the curtilage of the rest of the house.
And so we just use it for storage. But this one, the pole barn, is all still here.
Yeah.
We just kind of encased it.
Yeah. I think it's even nicer to think that the paint's made somewhere like this.
And frankly, we had no good use for the building otherwise.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
But it's all reversible. You can get back the barn if you want.
Was it fun coming up with the colours? It must have been sort of...
Well, I just did what I'd always found useful in 30 years of interior design.
Yeah.
And so, it's a good suite of blues, good suite of greens.
Yeah.
But everything is coming from a maximum a dozen pigments.
And it's, as you were saying, because they're natural materials, they work with what's already on the walls in older buildings and et cetera, it just avoids a lot of problems.
It does, but it also, by regulating moisture or water vapour in the air, you're promoting a much healthier environment for yourself as a person too. This is Copper Beech time. This is the perfect moment, don't you think?
Yeah, I do. It's
before
wonderful.
They go sort of black and cumbersome.
And then these windows here have got much thinner glazing bars.
Yeah, so they must have been replaced, do you think, in sort of 1800 or something?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about Tom Kennedy.
Yes. I've not seen a sort of example of. I think of like Robert Adams' Scagliola fireplace at Zion.
Yes, the bossy work types.
Yeah, but this is amazing.
Right. Just charming, skag.
And lapis lazuli for the kingfisher. How wonderful.
John Robinson thinks that this panelled room and the staircase was
1740.
Maybe a refitting of the house about 1750.
1750, okay. So around
on the occasion of a marriage. I think.
Yes, I see.
That was his idea.
Yeah, that's dead right, absolutely. Yeah. And often, of course, you've got this thinner panel above the fireplace, which sometimes mirrored, isn't it? And this room's filled with lots of modern art.
Basically, yeah.
This is where you watch TV.
So this is where we watch TV, and actually, in the evening, despite its north and east aspect, it's cosy.
And with low lighting and things, it must just be lovely.
Yeah, and so we've left. I think the panelling was painted once, but we've left it.
It's wonderful because you suddenly really step back into dim and distant past in a room like this.
Actually, brown is a great colour.
Yeah.
Not used much, but it just flatters everything.
Yeah, especially these jewel-like colours here. Oh, look now, this is pretty grand. So this is another sort of back. Why is it this room is quite small and then it's extremely...
This is an Edward Bulmer confection.
But all of it?
Yes.
You're very...
Sorry about
I was about to say, you're very clever. How condescending. No, this is amazing. This looks rather fun.
Yeah, designing a drawing room around a fireplace that came from Stratton Park. But it's based on a Kent design, which was based on an Inigo Jones design.
Yeah.
So it's kind of Herefordshire old-fashioned.
Oh no, these are all the lost houses.
Gone. Goodrich was taken down. Stoke Edith was burnt down.
Stoke Edith.
Rotherwas, Gibbs, that was taken down. So when we...
this is your lovely room.
So when we came...
I'm seeing this for the first time.
That oak room, we had 7 rooms all that size.
Ah.
But I found that at... you're probably too young to remember Walcott Reclamation in Bath.
Well, I wish I did know it. It sounds great.
There was a wonderful guy called Rick, I can't remember what. And anyway, I got it from him. And he'd taken it out of a house that had been occupied by the builder of Fonthill Tower. So I sort of wove this tale to myself that it must have been taken from
Fonthill Splendens. They are amazing. Is it York stone?
I love the little holes in them.
What sort of stone? Not York stone.
I mean,
what is it?
I think it's... Our best stone comes from Forest of Dean.
Oh, yes.
But this has got a slightly slaty look.
It's rather amazing,
It does delaminate.
And that is the most wonderful design to in front of for a table, a pier
channeling
table.
My inner Edwin Lutyens. And then this is our farm. So this is the
there's
house
the house. Yeah, with the canals.
And there's the river, exactly. And then this is the bit I was referring to, Moley Wood. This is our land up here. This was three rooms.
And you've gone all Pitt's hanger.
Which was sort of...
Sewn.
Trying to, again, not be... And I found that fireplace, which looked quite sort of Sonian.
Is this an old fireplace?
Apparently, a good construction's right.
I've not seen one like that.
I was talking to John Sambrook. He thought it was okay. I think these are probably replaced.
This is gorgeous, isn't it?
But it's very unusual, isn't it?
Very unusual. I saw the side table in the drawing room with all the mother of pearl.
Yes, we had those made there, and
lovely.
I did the pictures of the Taj Mahal.
Is this old paper?
Yeah, I think it's about 1810. David Millenaric sourced it from Lady Lambton.
Yep.
And she had it in her dining room in SW3. But it had come from Biddick, and probably much of it unused.
Wow.
Which is or the fresh stuff, very much.
So, yeah, because the colour is so lovely. I know a lot of people have Dagorne and all this stuff, which is great as well, but it's so wonderful. I love seeing original paper.
Well, it is much more interested in the subject matter, and it's much more formulaic than you think. Every panel has either a Chinese pot or a bird cage, and then it has 2 pairs of birds and 2 intertwining plants that then feed into the next panel, and it's actually quite a system. So it allowed us to piece together quite a lot of it, and then it kind of petered out. And then I built a bed a la Tregothnan.
Yep. It's fantastic.
But rather than doing the sort of Chinese lacquer, we just did 2 tones of our paints.
Absolutely. It's quite a calming room, isn't it?
I think with these papers where there is obviously an ageing about it, you want that ageing to be enjoyable, not looking dirty and unloved.
Yep.
So I think you want to get your paintwork quite down so that the paper itself is quite lively.
Absolutely.
So in every true English country house tradition, we've got a Chinese room and an Indian room.
And then this Georgian 18th century bed.
Yeah, so my parents bought this. I think they bought it in bits. Because I think it's 2 sets of front posts, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And then this literally, genuinely Chippendale cornice.
And often, and
sometimes
that would
have been stuck with silk.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it should have drapes.
It's a wonderful thing to see, isn't it? This green bathroom, which actually is quite a sort of.
It's quite an unusual green.
Yeah, but it's quite soothing.
But you don't have to be matchy, do you?
No.
But you do have to get the underlying tonality so that the old floor doesn't just look like a dirty old floor.
But the arts and crafts, they hated people over gilding a lily, and I think if you've got the proportions and the craftsmanship in the right place, the rest should follow, really.
Exactly, and I think you want to design walls with pictures in mind.
Dear Ed, well, you've got other things to do.
When are you coming again?
Well, I'd love to come in. I'm so pleased to see it. I mean, you've basically said, "Oh, come and drop in," but it was the perfect time. And no, it's
when you get another assignment in this part of the world,
come and
come
see
and
you.
stay, because
I'd
you
love-
can't come here and go away somewhere else in a day. It's just, as my children say, it's so far away.